Kevin Ward, good to see him back out there, huh?
Good to be back, boys.
Back on the field. You look tired.
I am very tired today.
You already did your triathlon. I mean, what could you probably don't even work out anymore. How could you be tired?
Training for next year.
Already started, huh?
Yeah, you know the scene from Happy Gilmore is like 364 more days to next year's hockey tryouts.
Yeah.
Took like a 2-week hiatus, but yeah, we're back in training mode.
2 weeks, no training at all? Nothing?
It's like half a week of no training, but
Okay.
Just a week and a half of light stuff, and then we're back into full tilt.
I saw when you posted the sort of little recap picture of the finish line, and you and Alyssa on Instagram, that you said that you would definitely be back next year. And my first thought was, oh no, Kevin's officially hooked. He's a triathlete, and this begins his career for the next 20 years of him being, just like doing an Ironman in every state and every country. This is where it goes.
We're gonna start off with trying to be really good at the Olympic triathlon. I don't know if I'll ever get to or even want to do like half or full Ironman.
Really, you're not interested in the distance. You're more interested in the speed at the shorter distance.
I think so. I mean, 2 hours is still a grind, man.
Yeah, it sure is. I would rather grind in those three than just doing the running. The half marathon, which I ran in like 1:48. Nope, don't like that.
So you'd rather do a half Ironman where you have to finish with a half marathon?
Well, I mean, when you get to the Ironman, half Ironman, and Ironman distance, at that point you've committed to misery. Yeah, it's very impressive that Dallas Clark just decided to do one, never having done a triathlon before, and then he's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna do the full.
I mean, that's the thing about that sport is like it's really not that hard to dial in a training plan. You just gotta make time for it.
You should do a lot of training, a lot of swimming.
It's not like you're trying to get all these crazy metrics for how to maximize your 10-yard dash time to
your power output.
No, you run a few times a week, you bike a few times a week, you swim a few times a week.
Yeah. Grant, when's your next triathlon?
Probably never. I'm going to be honest.
Never.
I don't. Okay, never is probably a strong word, but I don't know. I got a lot of I got a lot of other steps we got to take just in getting Grant's life together before we can worry about like, okay, I'm now gonna focus on my biking speed.
Right.
Sure. Step 1: remove the abscess from your lower limb or whatever.
Well, I mean, that's HIPAA. We don't have to. Okay. All right. Sure. All right. I tell you things in confidence.
Surgical.
Please. When you review this, please cut this out, Kluber. I'm very serious. Please cut all that. But
okay.
Yeah. No. Focusing on other stuff. We got we're in the job market right now. It's football season. Like the Hawks need me on Saturdays. I can't be on a bike, dude. I gotta be locked in.
Hey, they need you big time this Saturday.
Yeah.
Welcome in everybody to the Fight for Floyd podcast. Floyd of Rosedale, 98 pounds of bronze pod. And it feels heavier than 98 pounds. Kev, I know you've probably carried that trophy several times.
It does feel heavier. It feels like 98.3 pounds, but yeah.
To me, it feels like 198.3 pounds. The first time I carried it was with Boone Myers, I believe. And he's taller than me. And so it was just angled onto my shoulder. And I think I got 70% of the weight. Felt real heavy. Felt really heavy. Hey, everybody this week, actually talking about workouts as we get into this program. When you hit the gym this week, YMCA, Anytime Fitness, 24-hour, wherever you go, grab like the 60 or 70 pound dumbbell and just walk around the track with that for like, I don't know, like 3 to 5 minutes. It'll give you like a slight idea of like carrying Floyd off the field. Get in the zone. Not only do the Hawks need
auto zone.
You can buy
not a sponsor, but we should.
Big 10 trophies now. You can buy like a mini Floyd.
Oh yeah, you can buy the minis.
Yeah, put a 60-pound dumbbell on top of or below it, I guess.
You could just tape mini Floyd to a dumbbell and just carry it around? Act
Yeah,
like you do?
I don't think it's obviously not that big. It's meant for like your desk.
Sure.
If you just
I'm surprised
got it.
Kevin doesn't have one, actually.
We do. My parents do. I don't have one.
There you go. There you go. Not surprising. Shout out to the Ward parents, by the way. Legends. They're gonna need you, Grant, on Saturday. They're gonna need everybody. This is a big time win. You don't get to carry the trophy off the field until you win the ball game, and winning in the Big Ten isn't easy. We enter Big Ten play here, Kev. What's different about the conference schedule than the non-con? Is there anything that actually changes? Does it actually?
The teams are usually better.
Are they?
Typically.
This isn't Illinois State. It's unfortunate.
That'd be cool if we played them 12 times a year.
Just
be a great rivalry.
Can you imagine by like the 8th game, you just line up again? You're like, God damn it, these guys again.
Can you imagine if you just kept doing like every other week at each other's stadiums? Like, all right, we're gonna bust to Bloomington, Illinois again.
Just the most electric series ever.
And you know, like there's the hotels that have good food the day before the game, the hotels that have the bad food. It's like, you just know that you're not getting a good meal in Bloomington, Illinois.
We did get a good meal though in Minneapolis several times.
Oh yeah.
Minneapolis had great amenities. In fact, I think the first time we traveled there would have been 2014 when we got smacked. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we got. I brought that up on the pod with David Eichholt today. If you haven't checked that one out, go listen to the Wednesday KF press review. We went for like almost 40 minutes. Really good stuff in there, breaking down the post game press conference, the Tuesday presser. We talked about that game because KF brought up in his press conference that he doesn't remember a game where he saw somebody score one guy score 3 touchdowns on him and just never be touched on any of the plays. And I was like, well, Max Williams came pretty close in 2014. He was probably touched, but
he's probably touched once or twice, but yeah, I think he had 3 touchdowns that game.
He had 3 touchdowns. I went back and looked at the stats. Do you want to know how many catches he had in that game? Just 5. 3 of them were for touchdowns.
Yeah, we probably knocked him up a few draft slots at that game.
Oh yeah,
he's still in the league.
We got him in the NFL
for a while.
I don't know. Check that. Max Williams from Minnesota, Grant. See if he's still in the league. I think he bounced around for a while for sure, but he was not as good as we made him look that day. Tough day, and that until last year was the last time that we had lost to Minnesota. Correct?
Yes.
2014, and then it took all the way until a non-illegal fair catch bullshit call to.
Hasn't played since 2022.
Okay, so he's washed.
Was a Baltimore Raven for a long time though.
Yeah,
ended his career as a Cardinal. It looks like.
Good for him. Few things to talk about tonight. We'll bring up the Grant top 25 because why not? It's the most important, most prestigious top 25 there is.
That's what I've heard.
I think we have a couple questions that I have banked. Oh yeah, and actually it's they're both from Lister, from the Patreon, and one of them actually pertains to one of our games against Minnesota. So we can ask those 2 questions. We're obviously going to go over awards winners towards the back end of this podcast, and I don't know, maybe we get into some other crazy stuff. Who knows? I did have a delicious 2 scoop of salted Oreo ice cream before this podcast. Just a goated flavor. And I wish you guys had ice cream too. It was that good that I wish maybe you did have ice cream. I don't know.
I could use some ice cream.
Kevin probably had broccoli and boiled chicken breast.
No, I had some seared ahi tuna. Mixed it up today.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. Tropical.
So Kevin, you like this game. It's a good game. You like this trophy.
It's the best trophy in the Big Ten.
Best trophy in the country?
The national championship trophy might take the cake on that.
Outside of the Natty or
like rivalry trophies.
Yeah.
it's got to be up there.
Did you guys like the crystal ball or the new trophy?
I love the crystal ball.
Crystal ball was sick.
I can't believe they
way
got rid
better
of
than the college football playoff one.
I can't believe they got rid of the crystal ball.
They should not have done that.
Yeah, they messed up there.
It was perfect. Bring it back.
That was bad move. Bad move.
Orange Bowl trophy has just a bowl full of oranges. That's
pretty
cool one.
Pretty great.
Yeah.
There's some good ones in the Big Ten. They got the old oaken bucket. They got the axe.
I like the old oaken bucket.
The axe is cool.
The axe is cool.
Axe is cool.
Awesome.
The brass spittoons are cool.
Oh, the one that Michigan State versus Penn State is the most insanely large like box for no reason. It's what is it called? Give me a second. Sorry.
A box.
It's like the land grant trophy or something. It's just a giant wooden box.
I think the best thing about the pig is it started out as a real pig. I think we should actually double over on it and pass the bronze pig back and forth, but also just go back to a real pig.
We should definitely get the real pig going.
And you know what? At the Iowa and Minnesota State fairs are both huge. It can have a spot at either fair, wherever it was for the year. And
can you imagine, say like the winning team gets to eat the pig on the other team?
Yes.
In the other state.
I mean, dude, Pete and Kim Harmon, Grays, they were banging out the pig roasts. They brought the pig into the facility, sat it right down on the carving table. Why couldn't that be an actual pig that like sat in Minnesota for the year? I think we get like a little bit like ancestral here. We get a little bit savage, you know? Maybe we sacrifice the pig on the field right after the game.
Let's not get carried away here.
I feel like that might be a health code violation somewhere in there for pig sacrifice at midfield.
You put a tarp out there.
You might get a penalty from the NCAA for a pig sacrifice.
I will say we go on the road here. First road game of the year. Maybe we can talk about some of the unique aspects of going on the road. But Kevin, Minnesota, one of the better spots to go as far as a road stadium.
Nice away locker room. Yeah.
Great away locker room. Lots of space on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
It's
it's far enough away that you get to fly, but it's not a long flight. So that's pretty clutch.
I was having this conversation with Lauren a few days ago. We kind of randomly drove to and from places. I feel like sometimes we like drove there, but flew home occasionally. Like not just to Minnesota, but other. What was the arrangement? Did we always flew to and from Minnesota?
Minnesota is always flying. Yeah.
Did we drive back from Nebraska?
No.
At one point?
We flew to Nebraska.
To and from.
To and from. You're thinking of Illinois one year.
Okay.
We drove to Illinois and flew back. But it's because we stayed way far outside of town because like the hotels were booked or something like that.
Okay.
So we stayed like a half hour outside Champaign. So we drove there and then we flew from Champaign back to Cedar Rapids.
Did we drive to Wisconsin?
We drove to Wisconsin.
And then we had to drive to Purdue the one time because the Chicago they grounded flights.
Yeah, because there's a fire at like one of the air traffic control things.
Someone tried to light a fire.
Yeah, that was a tough trip.
Was it a Purdue fan? Was it on purpose?
Could have been. Okay. Could have been. You want to bring up that trophy there on the side there, Grant? What is this?
This is the land grant trophy, like I was talking about.
It looks like a drinking fountain.
It's just a giant wooden box. I don't know what's going on here, but it's also massive. I think it's like 4.5 to 5 feet.
I got to be honest, it's ugly.
That's a terrible trophy.
That's not a good trophy.
That might be worse than the Heroes Trophy.
The Big Ten has a lot of the best ones. I don't really even know of any good trophies outside of the Big Ten. Like what rivalries have good trophies?
There's the Egg Bowl in Mississippi.
Ooh.
The Big Ten has the biggest like trophy tradition. I think SEC has a couple. I think there's one out. Is it Oregon State or Washington State? I think they play for one.
I think both do. You got Apple Cup and
Apple Cup.
Civil War.
I know they call it the Civil War, but
Does Army Navy, is there a trophy associated with that game?
There's got to be some kind of trophy.
Or like maybe not a trophy, but something that's passed back and forth. I feel like they need
Well, I mean, there's a Commanders in Chief trophy, but that's between Air Force too.
True. Yeah. I feel like actually now that USC is a part of the Big Ten, they should have a protected game with Michigan State, and they should play for a sword.
Spartans versus Spartans.
Yeah, I feel like that would make sense.
I think,
and make it a long sword, like 12 feet.
Isn't I think it's Western Michigan plays for a giant cannon against another directional Michigan.
Really?
Could be wrong about that. I'd have to check it out.
There's the cannon's in the Big Ten somewhere. It's
Or should everyone just play for a cannon?
There's a cannon at Purdue that they blow to hell.
I think Purdue is one of the schools who plays for it.
Grant and I were talking about the other day.
I gotta look it up.
Grant and I were talking about the other day, Kev, how Purdue drives that freaking train onto the field. They got that like makeshift boiler that they drive out on the field, and they got it stuck last year, I think, or maybe even earlier this season.
Yeah, Illinois and Purdue play for the Purdue Cannon.
Oh, shoot.
How about that?
I'm also seeing Nevada and UNLV play for a cannon.
Wow.
There's a lot of cannon games going on.
They should play for like a poker chip or something. Like
that would be cool.
Bag of poker chips.
I think Nevada's in Reno, though, isn't it? I could be wrong about that.
I mean, either way. Have you had any bacon this week, Kevin?
I've had zero bacon, dude.
Yeah, I've had none either. It almost feels like you don't deserve it, like when you don't have the pig.
You know what? Maybe that's a good way to spin it. Yeah, I'll have my bacon on Sunday morning.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to the pork producers, though. Former sponsor of the podcast, maybe future sponsor. I don't know. Not right now, but I'll give them a shout out anyway because they were great to work with, and I love pork. So, this is...
You know what the worst trophy is? The Bits of Broken Chair trophy between Minnesota and Nebraska.
Bits of Broken Chair?
Yeah, the Bits of Broken Chair.
You pull that
get
one,
do you get just a puzzle piece, basically?
Chair for a puzzle.
Does the giant Pop-Tart and the Pop-Tarts bowl count as or are we just doing rivalry games?
I feel like the lore there could really expand over the next few years. They came out strong with that bowl game.
That was like the perfect
giant
game.
Toaster, dude.
Yeah,
come on.
Then he gets feasted on by the winning team.
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't this trophy could be worse. I'm gonna be honest here.
It's pretty bad. Let's be honest. Show that thing. Pull that thing up.
I mean, it's not what I pictured, but
I mean, come on.
It's a broken chair.
Like, what are we doing?
What's the history of this game?
I don't know.
The history of this game, they started playing each other 12 years ago.
You want to know something that is interesting is it wasn't a fair catch. So what kind of feelings did you have when Coop did that last year? My immediate reaction before they, made the bullshit call on a replay that they weren't even reviewing if it was a fair catch or not, which first of all, how is that even legal to go back and do that? My first thought was I was giggling like a schoolgirl on the couch watching it, and I literally said out loud, "He did it again. That son of a bitch did it again."
What is it, 2 walk-off kick returns in 3 weeks?
And not only that, he juked the entire team. And now the Eagles are just wasting his talent in the second string spot. Get him on the field. That's why they deserve to lose the other night. But to Atlanta at home. Because they're not playing Cooper DeJean more. Dumb. Stupid. Not smart. Any fond memories from this rivalry, Kev? I think I had my best tackle ever against Minnesota. Solo.
What game?
2015.
That was a fun game. That might have been one of the... That was a really, really awesome environment in Kinnick, that game.
Yeah. Jerseys were sick, too.
Jerseys were sick. That was right after the wrestling team beat Oklahoma State in the...
all-time day in Kinnick, yeah.
Grapple on the gridiron. Offense put up 40. Defense did not play good, so that wasn't cool. But Kinnick was pretty special that night.
It was special. And actually, one of our questions from Listy comes from that day. He said, I remember the IOWA chant going crazy long after the Daniels touchdown run. What was it like as an Iowan? What?
Should have slid.
Okay. What was it like as an Iowan and a Hawkeye player to listen to that for the last 10 minutes? Gave me goosebumps just watching it back on YouTube.
I was thinking for 10 minutes how he should have taken a knee.
Tougher day for the defense. What was going on that day? Do you remember specifically what was happening? Like why?
I think they had a couple big plays on us. And they were honestly just they're nitpicking our zone defense pretty well in the passing game.
They just decided to run the patience that day, and it was working.
Yeah. We were playing a lot of cover 2 to the boundary, and they were just kind of picking it apart a little bit.
I remember us getting diced up a little.
Yeah, and we gave up a few big plays. I think at least one of them was a trick play.
You know what was really satisfying about that game too is like we were every week after like week 8 or whatever, we were gonna be 8-0 for the first time since 2009. 9-0 for the first. That was week 10, and like 10 wins. We had not experienced that yet. Actually, to that point, we hadn't even experienced 9 wins, so we had already set a new personal record for our career. But Minnesota was pretty good that year. I think they were 8-1 coming into that game, and they were ranked, I believe. And so like there was a lot of, it was a pretty hyped up, like there was a lot of fanfare, like it was the environment was juiced. I remember specifically, I don't know if it was because of the jerseys or if because it was a night game or it was just everything combined. But when the specialists ran out 18 hours early for warm up, like we always did, there were significantly more fans already in the stadium than a normal game. It was rocking. God, it was a fun time. I flipped a guy in that game on a PAT or on a field goal and put him right on his head, and that felt good. It was just a fun game all around. To answer the question, I do remember the chant going wildly long. Kevin was evidently pissed that LaShawn didn't slide. We'll have LaShawn back on and talk about that.
If he did slide, we would have kneed out the game, and we wouldn't have had to sweat the onside kick after they scored in about a minute 20 after we kicked it off to them. So yeah, should have taken a fucking slide.
No faith. Kevin's got no faith in his own defense.
No, I just like taking the wins when it's right there for you to take.
I remember the chant going super long and me working back and forth of the emotions of, wow, this is really cool. Night game. So it's the perfect environment. And as a specialist, we kicked that field goal after LaShawn scores a touchdown or the PAT. And then I just go sit on the bench. And I'm just like, it's just that dull roar as I pay attention to the game. And I'm kind of staying keyed into what, as the defense starts to get kind of beat up a little bit on that short drive. But then you still hear it. And you're just like, is this still going? Like, it's one of those moments where you get to disassociate with being a player for just a second, at least as a specialist. Very hard to do if you play other positions, especially if you're on defense at that point. Kevin probably didn't experience that. But you get to look up and you get to be like, this was the environment that you hope that you get to be a part of. This is one of those times where this is why you fought so hard and wanted to get your foot in the door, because to be a part of something like this is something you remember for a really long time and a chance to do really something special. And fortunately we did. We won that game and won the next 2 games, and it was the great season that we all remember. But yeah, LaShawn could have slid.
It just would have made it that much better because, we wouldn't have given up a touchdown and people would have been like, oh shit, we have to recover this onside kick. People could have enjoyed the IOWA chant as we trotted into, or I guess that was to win back Floyd because we lost the previous year. But yeah.
You're right. 2014, bad year for trophies.
just got fucking slaughtered.
just 0 for 4, you know? And everyone was gut-wrenching in its own way. Iowa State lost at the end in Kinnick.
Yep.
Absolutely pummeled, just bent over Minnesota's lap and paddled like we were in a old one-room school.
Honestly, that might have been the worst. That might have felt worse than the pummeling we took from Stanford.
Oh yeah, it was because Minnesota wasn't like some great team. Stanford at least had, they had Jesus on their roster.
Yeah, and it was just 5 yards of carry every single carry, and just 9 plays later they're in the end zone. And could do absolutely nothing on offense. But yeah, got absolutely pummeled by Minnesota. Played Wisconsin really tough actually that year. Wisconsin was really good. Melvin Gordon was on the team that year.
Oh god.
We were actually a couple plays away from
could have won that Wisconsin.
Could have won that one. That was a tough game. They were a really good team that year though.
Yeah, they twisted like a motherfucker on the old punts. That wasn't good.
Yeah, and then next I think it's the following week, Nebraska. We
oh god,
we give a 2-touchdown lead late in the second half.
You could quite honestly.
That's why we stopped doing pro punts after that game.
You could track the last decade of success on special teams back to that 2014 Nebraska game. It was a spark that it was the last straw. We were gonna either, that clip where he's like, where the reporter's like, how do you feel like you guys executed in that first half? And the coach is like, execution. Yeah, I'm in favor of execution. Maybe our whole team needs to be executed.
Brian Kelly?
Yeah.
Oh.
Brian Kelly, yeah.
And I think our coaches probably would have echoed that Brian Kelly sentiment after that Nebraska game. I could have seen Coach Wallace saying something like that. That would have been hilarious to hear in Coach Wallace's voice. Yeah, tough year, and it obviously then it led to some cool stuff in 2015. Talk about a few other things here in a second, but Grant, you want to pull up that GBone top 25?
Sure. Yeah, I will say this is the worst. This was the toughest GBone top 25 I think I've ever
you've ever done.
If you're like looking at the teams right now, like I don't know if there's
what it is.
I know you gotta rank 25 teams, but I didn't want to rank like most of these teams.
There wasn't 25 deserved teams.
Well, we got a 3-way tie at 25 for just a toss up.
Wow.
I don't know.
How did you not give that to Northern Illinois? We talked about this on taglines on Tuesday.
Well, we talked about how notice like you can't rank Notre Dame above Northern Illinois, but I feel like you can show love to UNLV had a great win. Memphis had a great win. Like they've been doing good this year.
UNLV, who'd they beat?
Kansas.
They beat Kansas
at Kansas.
It was supposed to be good this year. And then Memphis, what did they do?
They beat Florida State at Florida State.
Yeah. Oh, so funny. I just saw this. The Florida State guy, week 1. Or maybe week 2, if we lose to Georgia Tech, I will eat a pile of dog shit. You guys saw that, right?
Yep.
Guy had to delete his entire social media presence because people were going to actually make him do it.
I think he's back now, by the way.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So that became a total meme, right? And this week, there's a Kansas State account.
Yeah.
That said, and I think it's Saint. Oh God, what was the old coach's name?
Bill Snyder.
Saint Bill Snyder is the Twitter account, and he tweeted, "If we lose, who do they play this week?"
This is. I have the tweet. It's just they play BYU, by the way.
Yeah, read it.
I don't know if I can say this, but if K-State loses to BYU, I'll shove a beefy 5-layer burrito up my ass.
It's better when you say it, Grant. If K-State loses to BYU, I will shove a beefy 5-layer burrito up my ass. So then Cyclone Jerry, who's like a very well-known, popular
Cyclone Jerry or Larry?
Or Cyclone
Those are both people.
Cyclone Larry. He quote tweeted that and said, "If Iowa State loses to Arkansas State, I will eat the 5-layer burrito, beefy 5-layer burrito that this guy shoves up his ass." Dude, Twitter. And I just had one of those moments where people are like, dude, this site is free. I'm never deleting this app. Like, God, the internet is fucking amazing, man. That is some good stuff.
Twitter's great.
By the way, speaking of burritos, Kevin, somebody tweeted at the walk-ons yesterday a couple fat burritos from Pancheros and said, hey, once a snack, two's a meal.
That's gospel right there.
That's Bible. Still need to make that into a t-shirt with like a caricaturized Kevin face.
No free ads.
You're right. We got to get him to pay us first. So let's talk about a little bit of this. Heisman frontrunner with 9 touchdowns. Jainty.
Yeah.
In 24 there, right behind the Nebraska Cornsuckers. Unfortunately, you look at Nebraska's schedule. We did that little breakdown with Searles and, Nebranoy. Big game, potentially the biggest game of the weekend.
I think it's going to be a good game this week.
I think it's going to be a great game. Nebraska wins that game, and especially if they do it any sort of handily. They have not a tough schedule. They could be ranked with a number next to their name for quite some time. Illinois, Syracuse up there, the opposite blue and orange.
I like Syracuse.
Love that. Iowa State sitting there at 20. We let them off the hook.
It's unfortunate.
They are who we thought they were. Love that you don't have Notre Dame in there. We talked about that, like we said.
They'll probably crawl if they keep winning. They'll probably crawl back in there. But
of course they will, because
they can't be above Northern Illinois right now.
No, absolutely not. But they are in the AP poll, which is absolutely disgusting. Clemson falling off the face of the earth, just a poverty program nowadays, but still in there at 17. Michigan slips by Arkansas State, still in there. I still think
Clemson's pretty good, by the way, just for the record.
That was a joke.
Okay.
They aren't Deshaun Watson good.
No, I don't think they're going to win the national title this year, but I think they will improve from 17 as the course of the season goes on.
Anything else K-State up there, Oklahoma State. I mean, a couple teams that struggled a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, really, the only move was Arizona dropped out, and then I put the 3-way tie in there for fun. That was all that really changed.
Even with a 1-point win where they should have lost, Georgia stays up top, huh?
Yeah, I think playing on the road there at Kentucky can kind of get tricky. I like Stoops; it's a good coach,
great coach.
Yeah, but I think teams can slip up occasionally. But I also like Ohio State. I mean, like I don't want to punish them for winning, I guess, when we know Georgia's very good.
You want to know something fun that Grant and I figured out on Tuesday, Kev?
Hey, man.
Washington State's going to be in the playoff.
They might go 11-1.
The
schedule was very winnable.
Now, granted, they don't have,
I guess they're just playing a bunch of Mountain West teams, right?
Essentially, yeah. And then they beat they're undefeated right now.
Does the Pac-12 qualify as?
No, they don't. They don't.
That's what we were asking. Is at what point are they willing to put 11-1 Washington State Pac-2 champion in one of the top 4 seeds? Or does the committee have the balls to do that?
Well, the problem is those 4 seeds are automatically for the Power 4. The way it's set up.
But there's also automatic bids for the highest ranked group of 5 champion.
I think just one. I think it's the 5th seed is just the highest, and then it's the next 7 highest rated teams or whatever after that.
Right.
But at 11-1, I mean,
if they can escape Boise, it's gonna get undefeated isn't even off the table.
Hey, baby,
it's gonna get weird up in Pullman. That's all.
Here come the Cougars.
And I'm the Pac-2 being in the playoff or high.
Hey, dude, they added 4 teams. They're a 6-team conference now.
They'll be the 6-pack in I don't know.
6-pack is
July 1st.
It's a sick name, by the way.
Yeah, I think they're gonna steal Memphis and Tulane as well, but we'll see.
Oh, you're a realignment expert now.
I'm not. It's just a guess.
Oh, okay.
I think was the preface.
Hey, you remember when we were going through, we were talking about Wampa? I asked Kevin like if he was underperforming, and then we were like, oh, he's got to be one of our top recruits. And then we went through those top recruits, Grant. You kind of listed them off.
Sure. Yeah.
We got to the top, and we were like, Kyle Williams. Who the hell is that? I had like 6 people that are older than us, like they're closer in their upper 30s, 40s, where they were around back when Kyle Williams was a recruit.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, this guy he was the real deal.
I saw some tweets about it.
He was nicknamed the Bone Crusher. He was like, he was a 5-star, like potentially like one of the best linebackers in the country, had an offer from everybody. And then like sort of senior year, freshman year at Iowa, freshman summer, he had a bit of a mental break and like assaulted 2 women or 12 women, some amount of women, went nuts, like damn near killed him. I don't know. And he was in jail until last year.
Oh,
yeah.
So you're saying,
but dude, he was the Bone Crusher though. He was.
So this guy was roided up for sure.
He could have been roids. I don't know.
What year did he get to Iowa?
He was in the class of 2006, I believe.
Okay.
And I read the entire story because one of the Iowa beat writers did a story on him in 2019. Like went to the prison.
He's been in jail for almost 20 years.
He spent almost 20 years in prison. His parole date was sometime in 23. I tried to check and see if I didn't do too much super sleuthing to see if he actually got out, but he was supposed to get out in like spring of last year. And he thought he could still play in the NFL when they did the article on him in 2019. Somebody went to the prison and like talked to him, had like pictures of him. I'll just pull him up.
Crazy.
But dude, out of high school, this guy was insane. He was like, he was like the chosen one. And then he decided to go psycho. See if I can find the article, but that's who he was. So our best recruit ever, we never got to see play because
he tried to kill someone apparently.
Basically, yeah. I think there's sexual assault involved.
He's not very good at following the law.
Bad, not good at law stuff, at rules.
Underrated part of being a great player is just stay out of prison.
Yeah. If you can stay out of prison, man.
Undervalued skill. Stay out of prison.
See if I can share this. This is, dude, the article. So Mark Emmert did the article, and the title of it is just tracing Kyle Williams' path from highest-ranked Kirk Ferentz football recruit to an Illinois prison and his hope for redemption. And then it goes on to.
This is like 5 years ago. He did this article.
Yeah, this was done in August of 2019. It starts off with how he keeps in shape, and he just throws some dude in the prison, one of his boys, on his shoulders. That's 275, and he just does squats with him. I mean, true prison strength. This guy is just doing squats with some dude that's 275 in like the cell three cells down. Yeah, but this is him now. I mean, he's jacked still. I mean, he's 2006, so he would be like 38 years old, almost 30, 36, 37 years old. Guy's jacked. So that's what happened to our best recruit. Good for us. Anyway.
It's just smooth transition.
Just brought some good memories back to a bunch of people who followed recruiting in the mid 2000s, I guess.
So that's our biggest miss in recruiting history then.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a different kind of miss, but yeah.
I'm miss is a miss, right?
Pretty big miss. We're going to play the Minnesota Gophers on Saturday. Minnesota Gophers currently have a top 5 defense in college football, according to the stats. Now, don't look into it that they've only played North Carolina, Rhode Island, and
Nevada.
and Nevada. And Rhode Island isn't even a Division I football team. And they still only average in their against their competition, which is Minnesota and 2 other teams of their caliber. They only average like 278 yards of offense. Nevada is not good. They're 104th in the country. And North Carolina is actually 54th. So the 53rd ranked offense in the Iowa Hawkeyes will be the best offense that Minnesota football has seen this season. We're averaging 420 yards, 419. Can we get there versus the Gophers? Can Caleb Johnson run on these Big Ten opponents?
Are we going to put up 400 yards this game? I don't think so. But it's going to be better than what Minnesota has seen all year.
Yeah. They definitely haven't seen anybody like Caleb Johnson.
No.
Be nice to establish that running attack early. Open up a little bit of the pass game.
Unless you've tried to tackle an F-150, you've never seen anything like it.
Have you ever battled a Decepticon? Then
Recently?
you don't know.
Oh.
Then you don't know what it's like to tackle number 2.
Are you Jackie Moon and have wrestled a bear in a stadium before? If not, you don't know what it's like to try to tackle Caleb Johnson.
So,
have you ever tried to stop a SpaceX rocket from launching?
you doing like a Jeff Foxworthy thing there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. I like Jeff Foxworthy.
On the defensive side of the ball,
Underrated community.
Oh yeah.
let me check a little total offense here and see where the Minnesota ranks not top 5 in total offense. They rank 97th, in fact, next to a couple other Big Ten buddies, 95th Northwestern and 96th Wisconsin. Iowa State 93rd, by the way. Minnesota 97, good number. 97th in offense. They're only averaging 350 yards per game. 5.69 yards per play. So, no world beater offense coming in versus our defense, although, we've given up some big plays. I personally think the big plays are going to be okay. Someone had a question specifically for Kevin this week. I believe this was one of our followers, Otto on Twitter, said, I wonder if the Hawkeyes run more 3 high on defense with Quinn, X, and Cohen to try and eliminate the deep ball that's been getting us.
No.
Okay, Otto, there's your answer.
No, cover 3 is not a strong coverage versus deep threats. You play cover 3 either if you run a fire zone, so you want to bring pressure, or you want to get an extra guy in the box to defend against the run. It's not a strong coverage just to be playing as your base coverage.
I gotta word this. Do we just decide to play better in what we've been playing, or is there something we can play more of coverage-wise that may help us out with some of the deep balls that we've given up?
Yeah, just playing better is usually good advice. That usually,
sure,
if you follow it, usually works.
Generally.
No. So the second deep ball versus Troy, we checked to cover 2. Wasn't the original call. There's something for some reason like we checked to cover 2, and playing cover 2 to the field in college football, like obviously the hashes are pretty wide, so like the field is a lot wider than if you're going to the field in the NFL.
Right.
It's kind of hard to play cover 2. So I mean, they had a good play call versus a bad coverage for that, and obviously his feet got caught in sand there for a second. So
sure.
But no, just playing our base coverage better would just be ideal, and it's honestly the best coverage versus deep threats is because you always give the too high shell look. Yeah, you just gotta play it better.
It's gotta be better.
It's gotta be better.
Just be better. Do you think Minnesota come out and try and pick on TJ Hall?
I wouldn't try to pick on Jamar Harris.
Yeah, probably a bad idea. Or Sebastian. Probably don't want to pick on him either.
No, I wouldn't. I don't want to say pick on TJ Hall because I mean he's still a pretty solid player, but
decent.
There's not a whole lot of other places to even go try. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if I was an OC, I'm like, okay, this guy might be our chance to make something happen.
Sure.
Because we got a really solid front. We've got really good linebackers. There's not a whole lot of places like.
There's not a lot of spots to be like, hey, here's our opportunity.
We got to get advantages. This guy, that guy, that guy. Oh, I want to get these two in a one-on-one situation. No, the one thing, I mean, they got just a really big offensive line. So,
do they have a big line?
Yeah, they got some big boys.
Got to get pressure. We need pressure.
I think they average like 320.
Jesus Christ.
So,
yeah,
exactly.
Hey, I'm only about 10 pounds away from playing weight right now, bro. I'm like 205.
Hasn't that been true for like the last several years?
No, I've been no. I've been around like 190 for like the last 3-4 years. I'm sitting like 205 right now. Beefy.
Do you want to go play 5-tech against these guys?
I prefer not to, and I don't think that'd be a smart move by our defensive line staff, defensive staff in general. If they need me, I will. I'll give them my best, but I don't think that
my advice to me is just go down and create a pile.
Yeah. I'm going for knees. I'm biting kneecaps. I'm going Dan Campbell on these motherfuckers. Does it bother you that there's maybe a better than not chance that PJ Fleck fornicated with the trophy over the past season?
Why do you have to ruin my night like that?
That he potentially took Floyd, of which you and I both have held, and he actually took it home and into his bed with him. Wife wasn't there, and he actually did weird things to it. Is that weighing on your mind?
I don't like that you said it, but yeah, there's a 0% chance that happened.
Yeah. Does that give us the edge or them the edge in this game? Is anybody edging in this game? Oh, shit.
I've been edging this whole week.
I've been edging for this old goddamn podcast. I need Floyd back in Iowa City. Oh, PJ Fleck, huh? What a guy. Is he a fake juice?
You know what he is? He's a guy who sells a pyramid scheme who found his way into college football.
No, he's a multi-level marketer for sure.
Yeah. He's selling one of those new cryptocurrencies.
Oh, yeah. PJ's got tons of crypto, dude. PJ has so much
worth shit, but yeah.
No, he's got so many NFTs that have just tanked to zero. Poor guy. Not really. All right. We got to get Kevin off to bed. This guy's about to fall asleep. Grant, you got anything to say about PJ Fleck and the trophy?
If we don't win this game, I'm going to be insanely depressed for it.
And I didn't want to mention that. I didn't even want to bring that up because this is a positivity. This is a positivity optimism podcast.
Well, if we win this game, I'll be very happy.
Same.
How does that sound? I'll be very happy.
I don't know about you, Kev. I understand that from the player's perspective, we always, hey, you got to move on once the game's over and the next game is your next. From a fan's perspective, this Minnesota game has gotten to be a pretty crucial game in the morale department for this season for the Iowa fan base, because I think everybody expects us to lose, at least on paper for sure, in the horseshoe. Not next week, I guess, because we get a bye week, but 2 weeks from now. Not saying we can't win that game. We've been on teams that won games that were equal odds. But you play the numbers on that. So if this weekend goes poorly and we enter a bye week at 2-2 with Ohio State, a top 5 team at their place next on the schedule,
gonna get depressing in the eye.
It's gonna get. There's just everybody put your knives in storage. All the sharp objects in Iowa City need to just be locked up. It could get bad.
But another thing, I also think it's way too warm for this game. This game used to be cold weather. Used to be November. Used to be freezing temperatures. People wearing like surf suits to stay warm.
Surf suits.
Now it's September. It's beautiful weather. What happened?
I agree.
What happened to tradition in this country?
I think you at least need like a cool November chill to this.
Did you guys not always play it in like late October, early November?
It's definitely a back half of the year.
Usually, yeah, but actually that year that we got our ass kicked, I think was like middle of October.
That was like game 5, yeah.
It was towards the middle of the season, yeah.
Don't love that.
Maybe late October, but it was actually freezing because it was wet and windy.
It was bad. It was bad temperature.
It was honestly the most miserable I've ever been on a football field.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was just like we lost 56-14, and I wasn't even playing that year, so I'm just on the sideline, just like watching us get our ass kicked, and I'm cold, and I'm just like,
yeah,
this
probably
is not water.
Probably this
zero fun, sir.
Probably the second most miserable I've ever been.
DJ
Kevin.
Not the best transition. That was a weird transition right there.
Are you implying that this is the most miserable you've ever been? Is the awards winner segment?
No. The most miserable I've ever been was 2010 Marshalltown because of a technicality from 2 other teams that didn't matter. We somehow snuck in as the 32nd seed of the playoffs at 3-6, and we played eventual state champion Dowling Catholic in the first round. And in that first round game, where future star receiver and NFL receiver Amara Darbo, he would take the first play from scrimmage 80 yards for a touchdown on a corner that shouldn't have been on a middle school team, let alone our high school team. And not to mention, this night was 33 degrees and sleeting rain. So that was a bad night.
That's fair. Yeah,
and I was a starting middle linebacker for a defense that gave up 67 points. So it is what it is. That was the first worst.
I'm glad you weren't dissing awards winners because I like this segment.
No, I love this segment. And actually, what I was going to say was every time I hear that little bit that I mean, just is the most caveman edit of all time that I did like 5 years ago. It puts a smile on my face because it's just so us.
Well, we can't change it now. We gotta stay authentic.
Oh no, it's not going anywhere, and I'm not redoing it at all. So, awards winners, I'll kick it off.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Grant said he has like 46 picks tonight. I'm going right to Nebranoy.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure the Huskers burned me a couple years ago. I said I'd never bet on them again, but I kind of think they're going to win by more than 8.
What line do you have?
I see -8.
Okay.
Over under 43, which is actually low. It's pretty low. I think they're going to win by more than 8.
It was 10, so I think compared to the opener, you're getting a good number.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the Huskers. I hate
Did it open at 10, really?
It was pretty high, yeah.
So Nebraska -8 for me. I'm gonna then go to James Madison. They're gonna be at North Carolina this week. And as we've talked about, this is Duke's adjacent podcast. Mm-hmm. James Madison covered for me earlier in the season. And I'm going to take him again. I'm going to take him plus 10.5 against the Tar Heels. And then my final game, where was it?
You clearly love this pick. You gotta go back and remember it.
What pick?
The one you're about to do.
Oh, yeah, I was.
It's clearly it's been on his mind a lot. He's loved it so much that he.
No, we're going Big Ten. It's purple on purple. Northwestern makes its first trip out to the West Coast. They're going to take on the Washington Huskies in the Pacific Northwest. And, it's a 10.5 point line as well. And I'm going to take the dog in that one. I'm going to take the Northwestern Wildcats to cover 10.5. So those are my 3 picks of the weekend.
Wow.
Go ahead, Grant.
Okay. I'm just going to rattle some of these off because I'm going to just unload the clip because we've been struggling. So that's what we're just gonna go all out. USF plus 16.5 versus Miami. They're hosting Miami. I just feel like that's weird, so I'm taking USF. And remember, they recently they got allegedly blown out by Alabama, but that was a 1-point game in the fourth quarter. People forget. I like USF. And then today is James Gandolfini's birthday. He would have turned 63 today. Rest in peace to James Gandolfini, the actor who played Tony Soprano. So we're going to take Rutgers plus 3.5 as they head to Virginia Tech this weekend.
Jesus Christ.
Kansas plus 2.5 versus West Virginia. I love BYU plus 6.5 versus Kansas State. Kansas State's kind of got a weird spot. I think they got Oklahoma State next after this. It's a weird time to go to BYU.
So that guy's gonna have to shove a burrito of his head.
He might have to. I think it's this was not the game to do that. Provo, Utah, beautiful this time of year. People forget. So I'm going to take BYU plus 6.5. LSU minus 24. UCLA is awful. And I just think they're going to try and run up. Western Kentucky plus 2.5. They have the custom Big Red position helmets this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Take them by 1 million.
So I'm taking Western Kentucky plus 2.5. I don't care if Toledo beat Mississippi State by 1,000 last weekend. I'm still taking Western Kentucky. ULL plus 3. And then I'm taking Oklahoma State plus 2 against Utah. And that's all.
That's it?
Yeah. You said 49. I didn't say 49. You gave out 3.
I give out 3 every week. It's a standard. Kevin, your segment, your picks, give it to us.
I'm going to go to that Friday night game, that Illinois-Nebraska game. I do think it's going to be one of the better games of the week. I like the under in that game at 43. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair.
Wow.
Yeah.
Under is going to be tough for a cover.
I think you got 2 pretty good defenses there, especially with Illinois liking to run the ball. This is going to be the best defense that a freshman quarterback has seen yet. So
sure. That's going to be one hell of a Big Ten matchup if it goes under 43. It's going to be beautiful football.
I think it's going to be a great game, and I'm excited to watch it. And it's going to go under 43, and that's what we got. Right. We're going to go Tennessee minus 7 at Oklahoma. I think Tennessee is a legitimate national championship contender. So
wow,
they are. I think they are going to put their stamp on college football tonight.
Josh Heupel revenge game.
They're just going to dick stamp college football.
Huh? They're going to be like, hey, we're here.
Okay. Love that.
So, and then we're going to go to, I like that Rutgers plus 3.5. I really do. Yeah. James Gandolfini.
It's his birthday.
Yep, of course it is.
I think Rutgers got a pretty solid squad this year, and I think getting 3 with the hook, I like that. I'll take them.
All right, well there you go. Preview episode of the Floyd of Rosedale matchup opener in the Big Ten. Let's watch the walk-ons. Low energy podcast tonight. Kevin's gonna fall asleep immediately after this, and I think we're all just kind of. It's building. Night game. It's going to be juice. There's going to be electricity. We need the boys to come home with the pig. Bring it home. We'll talk to you guys. Oh, that was fantastic. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at the 5-10-5 show, and then we'll recap this weekend's game on Monday. See you then.